Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to our next clip. And the first one we just finished on the primary auxiliaries. We've looked at the form of the verb be. We've looked at the form of has and have. We have also looked at the form of do, which is do, did, and does. Now, the next part, as I had said earlier, is now on modal auxiliary verbs. Now, when it comes to modal auxiliary verbs, they are a little bit different. Remember, the funny thing with them is that they don't change. They don't change because maybe it's a plural form or not. Now, when I say they don't change, what do I refer to? Look at this. She is drawing. She is drawing. Okay? In this case, I've not used a modal auxiliary verb, but I've used a primary auxiliary verb, which is a form of the verb be. Okay? Now, if I want to change this sentence and have this sentence in a plural form, this is what I'll have. She will be they. Is will be are. Alright? She is drawing and then they are drawing. So there we have our verb. Okay. Now, in this sentence, you'll find that in the first sentence, right, is, which are a helping verb, which is a primary auxiliary verb, changes to are because we have changed the sentence from being singular to plural. Now, what will happen if now I have the same sentence whereby I use now a modal verb? Now, I have she can draw. She can draw. Now, I've used a modal verb which is can in that case. Now, I want again to change this sentence to have it in the plural form, where I will say they, then, and draw. Okay? Now, wherever you are, I know you have just filled in that part, and you say she can draw. In this case, we shall have it as they can draw. If you are keen enough, we'll see this. There are some changes here, right? The primary verbs, they change probably when you change it from singular to plural. But what has happened in our modal verb, there is no change that has happened, even if the other part of the sentence has changed and now the meaning shows the idea of being plural. Okay, so when I refer to, unlike the primary auxiliary verbs, modal verbs never change their form. They don't change their form. Now, look at a list of these modal verbs that we have here. So we have can, okay. I can ride a bicycle, showing ability. Could can be past ability. They could write letters, but now maybe they don't have the ability to write. May, all right, might. You look outside, you look at the weather, and you see it's cloudy, and therefore the sky being pregnant, we expect a form of delivery, which is likely to be, yeah, it might rain. You're not so sure about it, but there is a likelihood of it raining. Must, all right, you must knock at the door before getting in. It's very wise, which is a good habit. And then need, then we have ought to, then we've got shall, should, will, and would. Now, these are modal auxiliary verbs which are also used in sentences. Now, let's look at each one of them and probably how are they used in simple sentences to describe maybe various roles. Now, we have these. Can, right? So, one use of can is to express ability, meaning you are able to do something, right? When you say, yeah, I can carry this, meaning you've got the ability to carry it, okay? Now, again, you can also use it as a way of asking for permission. Now, when you say, can I leave, all right? Or can she leave now? Can Ali leave now? So, I'm not the one who is intended to leave, but I'm asking for permission on behalf of Ali in that simple sentence. Then we have could. So again, could can also be used in asking for permission. Could I visit him this afternoon? meaning you need to be granted the permission so that you can visit that person later. Also, you also use it to make a very polite request. Example, could you speak up please? You are not able to hear what the person said, and because you are not in a position to hear what the person said, you make a very, very, very humble request. Again, you say can is the past tense, could is the past tense of can, which can also show past ability. Then must, all right? These express necessity and obligation. For example, when we say every student must work hard, from this working hard is when we can therefore get something out of it. So every student must work hard, which is very important to work that hard. Now, express certainty. You are sure of something. Like when you say, that must be his house. And to prove it, there is a car which belongs to him that is always parked outside. So that must be his house. Reason his car is parked outside. Now, ought to. You ought to. Now, ought to is used in obligation. Is your duty to do something. Like when you say, citizens ought to follow the rules of the land. Children should obey their parents. By the way, when we say ought to, and again should, can also be used the same to show the idea of being or having a responsibility that you're supposed to do. It's it's the right thing to do. So, if children are supposed to obey their parents, then the parents have some roles for them. And on the other hand, the children also have some roles that they're supposed to play. Now, one, we have said obligation. Secondly, they express things which may or may not have happened. Like when you say, I should have taken the medicine, meaning you never took the medicine. But you feel it was supposed to be that way, right? I shouldn't have made that decision, because probably you made the decision out of anger, and you made the decision out of the surrounding or the environment that you are in. Later, when this environment is no longer there, you realize that you shouldn't have made that decision. Therefore, express things which may or may not have happened. Now, will, okay? Most of us are very good at this wherever we are speaking, because it's about something which is likely to happen. Yeah, I'll see you at noon, and you know very well at noon you'll not be around. But what you're doing, you are making a simple to show the future, because things which have not happened can easily be altered. Now, we use will to make prediction, okay? So maybe, I think after the elections, our country will change. So, there might be a probability of the country changing out of the election that probably are going to take place. So that's a prediction that can happen or may not happen. Now, also will can also be used to make an offer. When you are making an offer, oh please, will I pay or I will pay for you this lunch, okay? Meaning, I don't want to keep your money, let me do the paying of that lunch. So that's an offer. Then, to show habitual behavior, a habit is something that happens that people do every day. For example, it's supposed to be that every Muslim should pray 5 times a day, right? It's habitual. We wake up in the morning, right? It's a habit that we do. She cooks every day, so it's a habit, right? Now, how can we show it in form of habitual? For example, the child will keep moving and obstruct everyone. That's the nature of children. It's very hard, you find that maybe it's an extrovert who is just seated and settled in one place. That's not likely to happen. Therefore, it's a habit of the baby to walk around and obstruct everyone and make sure all the attention is 100% directed to her or him. So for habitual cases. Now, shall. Shall can be used when we make offers. Like, shall I get you another cup of tea? So you've already taken one, but I feel that one is not enough, therefore you require one more. And to make suggestion, for example, shall we go somewhere? Maybe you want to go somewhere. Now, why are these auxiliary verbs there? So auxiliary verbs, also known as helping verbs, add function or grammatical meaning to the clauses in which they appear. They perform their function in several ways. So one, they express tense. For example, it can either be past, present, and future. We are going to look deeply into this when we come to the perfective aspect. So they make sentences grammatically correct, and also they quantify the verbs, the number. We can know there are many people, there are few. One thing you should know and keep in the mind is this: auxiliary verbs almost always appear together with a main verb, and they are among the most frequent occurring verbs in the English language. Now we have some simple sentences here. What does the kids doing when you last saw them? What does the kids doing when you last saw them? So was, were, are, did, or been. So what were the kids doing in that case when you last saw them? Then Suhaila dash always wanted to try skydiving. Suhaila was always wanted, doesn't always wanted, has always wanted, is or have. So the correct sentence is supposed to be past. Where dash you go on your summer vacation? Where, okay? Where you go? You can say that. Where are you go? Where did you go on your summer vacation? Then lastly, why do you think she dash call you like she said she would? Why do you think she hasn't called you? She didn't call you. So the correct one will be, why do you think she didn't call you as she said? Thank you very much. We are going to interact in our Google Classroom, and I'll give you more exercise there. And therefore, thank you very much for your lesson, and enjoy the rest of the day.